Salvationes, Gusum Magister Sullivan. Today we're going to be doing Suburani Chapter 21, litus. Alexander, ubies? Alexander, where are you? Sabina Alexandrum Hukabat. Sabina was calling Alexander. Again, was calling here because it is an imperfect verb. Alexander Sabina vocatus de cella festinavit. Alexander, having been called by Sabina, hurried from the cell, or from his room. Vocatus is a new grammatical construction. This is a perfect passive participle, so part verb because it comes from a voco, and part adjective because it declines like an adjective, and it also modifies Alexander. It's talking about him. Quid est me ursa? What is it? My bear. Ad portam adeo, quod animalia describere volo, mecum venis. So I go, or I approach to the port, or I go to the port, because I want to write about the animals. Do you come with me? Or come with me? Question mark. Alright, volo is one of those words that always needs an infinitive with it, or most of the time, so this is called an objective infinitive. Right? Could actually be a complimentary, but Sabina maritum invitabat. So Sabina was inviting her husband. Alexander Sabina invitatus saculum cepit et domum reliquit. So Alexander, having been invited by Sabina, took his sack and left his house, or left home, abandoned home. So again, here we meet our participle, right, and it is going to modify Alexander, but like a verb, it also has this ablative agent that is dependent upon it. So again, passive, having been invited by Sabina, right? Ecce leones oiuges poenicopteri totum diem eos describere possumus. So look, lions, gazelles, flamingos. We can write about these animals, those animals, or we can write about them for the entire day. So totum diem is an example of an accusative of extent of time, or duration of time. Tu ne tot animalia unquam vidisti, quam pulchra sunt. Have you ever seen, or have you ever seen so many animals? How beautiful they are. Ille elepantus tristis est, quasi homo miser. So that elephant is sad, just like, or as if, he is a old or wretched man. Unus ex operi ariis tamen leonem verberavit, leo ab operario verberatus vehementur fremuit, omnes operarii riserunt. One of the workmen, however, hit the lion. The lion, having been hit by the workman, roared or growled, probably roared violently. All the workmen laughed or smiled. Operarii ingentum elephantum tristem in navem traxerunt. The workmen dragged a huge, sad elephant onto the ship. Repantus ab operariis tractus, here's our participle, in nave qui ete sedebat. The elephant, having been dragged by the workmen onto the ship, was sitting quietly on the ship. Nunquam talia animalia vidi. I have never seen such animals. Sabina et Alexander nautas qui simias in navem portaverat spectabant. Sabina and Alexander were watching the sailors who had carried the monkeys onto the ship. Una e simiis in navem portata forte effugit et funem escendit. One of the monkeys, having been carried on the ship, fled by chance and ascended the rope. Or it could also be ascends. Venatores animalia prope urbem capiunt. So Sabina says, do the hunters capture or take the animals near the city? Minime animalia per totum Africam a venatoribus apta huc agontur. So he says, no, the animals, having been taken by the hunters through the entire, or over the entire, all of Africa, are driven here, or carried here, forced here. Paucas post horas, Alexander arque uxur per litus ambulabant, ibi viri pisces capiebant, pisces a viris capti in harena iacebant, feles eios intente spectabat. So, a few hours later, Alexander and his wife were walking through or over the beach, through the shore. There, men were catching fish. The fish, having been captured, going with pisces, having been captured by the men, having been taken by the men, were lying down on the sand, or were lying on the sand. A cat, Felis, was watching them intently. Eos is referring to the fish. Sabina feminam conspexit. Femina a Sabina conspecta risit. Sabina intellexit feminam conspectam Hermionen esse. So Sabina caught sight of a woman. The woman, having been caught sight of by Sabina, laughed, smiled. Sabina understood, or Sabina knew, that the woman, having been seen, having been beheld, was Hermione. Sabina atque Hermione ad mare adierunt, pedesque in mare imposuerunt, peres in aquam impositi frigescebant, amicae horuerunt, tum Sabina concilium accepit. Sabina and Hermione approached the shore, went to the shore, and placed their feet into the sea. The feet, having been put in the water, or into the water, were frigid, were cold. The friends shuddered. Then Sabina had a plan, had an idea, made an idea. Aqua est calida, Alexander. Huc veni. The water is hot, Alexander. Come here. Alexander a matronis vocatus in mare cucurit. Ai, aqua est frigidissima. Vos estis mendaces. Alexander, having been called by the married women, the ladies, ran into the ocean, ran into the sea. Aye, the water is very cold. Remember, frigidissima is superlative, very cold. You are liars. All right, so that's the end. So a couple, again, grammatical points to point out is like impositi here, invocatus here. These are all examples of perfect passive participles. Conspecta, conspectum. All right, so they're used quite a bit. With that, we'll see you in the next story. Valete omnes.